Welcome to brand creation and market positioning. Most brands don't struggle because their product is bad. They struggle because the market never understood that they actually mattered and they were due a position within the market. So you may be saying things like, we're doing everything right, but growth feels really slow, or we're blending instead of standing out, and you don't know how to stand out. Perhaps you're thinking that you are forever adjusting your price points, or you're forever marking your garments into sale. Or maybe that your brand, you know that your brand looks professional, but nothing converts. Brand positioning is not a logo problem, it's a clarity problem. It's what your customers read into. The market doesn't instantly understand who you are for, what you solve, and why you're different. You do become invisible, and you do very much blend. Save this video for later so you can refer back to it when you're planning and wanting to start your own brand. It will help you. So section 1, which is about market positioning. Many brands guess instead of analyzing their brand or where they want their brand to be situated. They price emotionally instead of strategically, and they will copy competitors instead of differentiating themselves. They will rely on intuition, their own guesswork, instead of what the data tells them. Emerging brands struggle with underpricing out of fear, chasing too wide an audience, and not knowing where they truly fit in the market. Established brands often struggle with being outdated, or the perception that others have on them, losing relevance to their competitors, and inconsistency positioning across their product channels. Market positioning equals perception and pricing and proof that you actually should be there. We confirm this through brand reports, competitive benchmarking exercises, identifying market gaps, pricing architecture exercises, and most brands will look at their competitors and ask, how can we look like them? But good strategic brands will ask, where do those brands fall short, and how can we own that space? This is what my program offers, teaching you through this process to make sure that you're thoroughly sure and positioned correctly in the market. Section 2, pricing strategy. If you're pricing without true understanding of your position, then you can very often mark down your product way too much. You will have inconsistent revenue, you can't forecast correctly, and you will be feeling very guilty about charging more. You need to be sure of your market positioning on pricing architecture. Pricing communicates value before the customer has even looked at your product. If your pricing doesn't align with your positioning, your brand creates confusion, and confusion kills any conversations of any purchases. Pricing is not about affordability, it's about credibility. Section 3, brand guidelines. It's really important to always pull together your brand guidelines. Otherwise, it will create inconsistency or aesthetic only branding, trend branding only. Brands do actually make mistakes for choosing pretty over strategic, trends over timeless, and logos as their identity. And they really home in on a logo thinking it's the be all and end all. Guidelines will identify trust, recognition, authority, and your emotional resonance. Core elements in a brand guideline is your color palette, your logo, of course, which is your recognition, not decoration, your USP, so what you have to offer that no one else does, your tone of voice. And if you struggle to identify what tone of voice is, just think of it as how your brand sounds and communicates when you're not in the room. Visual systems across every touch point, whether that be font, color, size font, or the way you communicate. Your brand looks one way on Instagram and another on your website and another in an email. Your audience becomes suspicious and disconnected, and that is what tone of voice means. It's being consistent throughout all your visual and verbal communication. Section 4, brand development steps. So step 1, of brand development is your brand story. Brands very often will talk about themselves, but that's not your audience. Your brand is your audience, and your brand has the story. Your brand story is not your own personal journey. It's how your customer becomes the center point of what you're providing a solution for. Who is your audience before your brand? What problems are they stuck in? What transformations are you able to give them, provide them? If your brand doesn't reflect your customer's internal struggle, it won't convert into sales, no matter how good your product is. Step 2, your visual identity mood board. Visual chaos and trend chasing will become, if you don't be strict on your vision and your mood and your colors and your energy of your brand story, put it all in one place. So that will consist of your imagery, your textures, your personality alignment, whether it's loud or subtle, put all of that in one place, which is called your mood board. This is where most brands realize their visuals don't actually match their positioning, because your garments or your mood board is saying one thing and everything else in the collection is saying another. The key to a good collection is have the same language from start to finish, and don't have generic messaging. Examples of generic messaging and weak positioning really is when people just say, oh, high quality, affordable, and customer focused. It's more than that. Reframe your brand story by making sure your values, propositions should always answer why you, why now, and why should they care. You're constantly supporting the answers of your customer. If your competitor could say the same thing, then you don't have a valuable, unique proposition. It can be similar, but needs to be different you need to be different from your competitors. You need to be unique. Clarity beats creativity, and strategy beats aesthetics. Strong positioning encourages brand growth. The brands that win aren't necessarily louder and flamboyant. They're just very clear on their brand message and their designing. If you are watching and realizing that your brand has more potential, but there's something doesn't feel quite right and you feel misaligned, this is exactly what I help brands with, and how they become confident in their whole journey and process of design development right through to production. Brand isn't struggling, it's just mispositioned, that can be corrected with just a few processes. So let's summarize. The brands that win are not necessarily louder. They are clearer. Clarity beats creativity. Strategy beats aesthetics. And positioning always becomes before growth. If you're watching this and you realize that your brand has potential but something feels misaligned, that's not failure, that's awareness, and that's good. And awareness is the first step to progress and to growth and to transformation. So if you want support clarifying your position or refining your brand strategy and identifying what's actually holding you back, as I promised, I've left a free call link in the comments section. So click the link and book yourself in for a free call. We can jump on that call together and talk about any challenges, and I can give you some solutions. Thank you very much for listening. Until the next video, bye-bye for now.